This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions coming to you with an article I got from Yahoo.com. American middle class is getting hit with office jobs disappearing. Definitely in this time, it's just something to be aware of how things are changing dramatically and how this affects you on a personal level. And especially since if you're in the position where with a lot of office jobs where you worked at that and you think that you would normally be able to work from home, that's not becoming the case. Article caught my attention. Definitely wanted to pay attention. I'm going to put a link inside the description. We can dive right in. The new year arrived with a new job for Tyler Simon, who had high hopes for 2020. I guess they started it with a personal story. They didn't last long. Once COVID-19 hit, things were going from bad to worse really quick, said Simon, father of two in Summerford, North Carolina. A marketing specialist with a sales training company, Simon lost his job along with several colleagues on April 7th. Less than 2 weeks into a statewide lockdown to counter the pandemic. He says many who survived the firm's layoffs saw their pay cut by 10%. That's happening all over the country. A tsunami of job losses, which began among workers in restaurants, hotels, and factories, is now reaching offices of white-collar America, where analysts and engineers find themselves among the rapidly swelling ranks of the unemployed. See, this was never the case before. Analysts and engineers find themselves in the swelling ranks of the unemployed. Within a month, some 22 million people filed for jobless benefits. That's what's shaping up the worst out for U.S. labor since the Great Depression data. Data day through Thursday is forecast to show another 4.5 million joined in the line last week. So we're about 26.5 what they're reporting at. A detailed breakdown by profession won't be available for a couple more weeks, but it's already clear that the layoffs span industries and income groups, and they're hitting many Americans who have never had to apply for such assistance before. What we're going to be seeing is cutting deeper to the bone, said Diane Swan, chief economist at Grant Thornton LLP. There's a sort of sense of nowhere to hide and more collateral damage. White-collar employees largely escaped their initial wave of coronavirus layoffs, often because of the nature of their jobs meant it was easier for them to do that at home. But even companies that manage to stay afloat have been seeing a big squeeze on revenue and profits as large areas on the economy are shuttered. That's triggering a second round of job cuts or furloughs, with office workers taking a bigger hit this time. And managers are taking out other steps in addition to reducing hours, a common measure in recessions. They're also slashing pay levels, which is more unusual and may be an ominous sign for the post-virus economy. Again, this notion of this U-shaped economy, everything going back to normal once they open things up and we find a cure or a treatment is really becoming more and more of a farce. But continue driving on. Salary cuts billed as temporary could easily end up a more permanent feature of payrolls, while employees finding they expect to work for 10 to 20% less than before, according to Gregory Dacko at Oxford Economics. That sadly is a reality of one recession that may potentially last longer, he said. This is a scary time. Lower incomes would hold back a rebound in consumer demand to support the economy once the virus is controlled. For now, workers who lost their jobs are forced back onto savings or government aid. Christy Casanova was a social marketing manager at a beauty tech startup in California. It was the kind of work she was able to do from home, and she'd been doing that for about 3 weeks. Then she was laid off, along with many colleagues via Google Hangouts call on March 27th. I had to stretch out whatever I had left in my bank account, said Casanova, finally been able to move into her own place in Hayward, a commuter suburb of San Francisco. So a lot of these millennials are being hit too. And had also bought a car. It's a scary time. Middle-class Americans went into the virus slump in better financial shape than before the 2008 crisis, with around $2,000 in liquid savings on average. Still, months without pay would put even those who managed to build a nest egg under financial strain. In most states, unemployment systems are creaking under the unprecedented burden of applications, leading to delays in cash payments. The government is also providing direct payments of $1,200 or more to some households as part of its virus relief plan, but to the extent which that will help depends on local costs of living. The other side, and the outlook for rapid return to work is bleak. Just a few months ago, job openings outnumbered the unemployed by more than 1 million. But openings in white-collar industries, a category that ranges from biotech to finance and accounting, plunged 22% between March 9th and April 6th, according to Glassdoor. Another hiring website, Indeed, estimates that on April 10th, positions on IT and engineering were down about 30% from a year earlier, while in marketing drop was 50%. With millions of newly unemployed Americans in the market for whatever jobs are out there, workers are likely to see their bargaining power sharply reduced. And it wasn't great to start with, even during the record-long U.S. expansion that just ended. Well, I'm glad at least they point that out. Economists were debating why wages weren't rising faster despite a historically low unemployment rate. Still need to debate. They're not counting the people who didn't apply or who work for the gig economy. When we get on the other side of the pandemic, it's going to be a buyer's market again for labor, said Elias School at the Economic Policy. People will be just scrambling to get a job, any job. That's pretty much how Simon, North Carolina feels a couple weeks into life as an unemployed father. My heart goes out to people, fathers who've been unemployed. I'm expecting to have lower salary in whatever position I have next, he said. I will just be thankful if I can get a marketing job in general. I mean, lower pay, higher pay, less benefits, anything. Just tough times we're living in. If you're a family member, just don't be surprised to see other family members who work usually white collar jobs be laid off as well. We're just moving into a different economic time. And as companies realize they can cut people because economically is feasible doing hunker down, you're going to see more and more stuff like this, and the unemployment rate will continue to rise. It's time to be prepared and do different things differently. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments, hit the smash button to like. And until my next video, I'm out.